Welcome back to the Broadman Word, and we are ending the life of Elijah, or the walkthrough of the life of Elijah. And last time we looked at the last that he appears in the Old Testament. Today we're going to see what is it, why does Elijah show up in the New Testament? And not just once, but multiple times. So, with that, we're going to be looking at different passages today. So, we're going to kind of jump around a little bit, but it'll be fun regardless. So, first, go to John chapter 1. John chapter 1, we're going to start in verse 19. John chapter 1 is all about introducing the word of the Lord, which is Jesus. And so part of that introduction is uh, the relationship between John the Baptist and Jesus. That John the Baptist is this preparer of the way, which we will see here in a second. So, John chapter 1, verse 19. And this is the testimony of John. When the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" He confessed, and did not deny, but confessed, "I am not the Christ." And they asked him, "What then? Are you Elijah?" He said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" And he answered, "No." So they said to him, "Who are you? We need to give an answer to those who sent us. What do you say about yourself?" He said, "I am the voice of one crying out in the wilderness, 'Make straight the way of the Lord,' as the prophet Isaiah said." Now they have been sent from the Pharisees. They asked him, "Then why are you baptizing, if you are neither the Christ, nor Elijah, nor the prophet?" John answered them, "I baptize with water, but among you stands one you do not know, even he who comes after me, the strap of whose sandal I am not worthy to untie." These things took place in Bethany across the Jordan River where John was baptizing. So, we see first the mention of Elijah with John the Baptist, and most of the references dealing with Elijah in the New Testament connect with John the Baptist. There is one other connection, we'll get to that in a second. Um, but why are John the Baptist and Elijah so connected? And he kind of John the Baptist kind of gives you the answer here. Not entirely. Jesus will do that in a passage that we're going to next. But here, though, yeah, we see that we see a little bit of an answer. And he says in verse 23, after he's asked, "Okay, are you the Christ? Are you Elijah? Are you the prophet?" The prophet mentioned at the end of verse 21. I think that is referring to the prophet that is to come, mentioned by Moses in the Pentateuch. So I think that's possibly who they're referencing to there. But anyways, with that in mind, let's see his response again. Verse 23. "I am the voice of one crying out in the wilderness, 'Make straight the way of the Lord,' as the prophet Isaiah said." Um, and or you could also say, "Crying out in the wilderness, make straight the way of the Lord." What's interesting about this is that he's trying to show that he is a preparer, that he is one that tries to get the way prepared. There's no other way to put it than that. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, how did Elijah do that? Well, one, he prepares the country for the drought that was to take place. And not only that, but then he prepares them for the way to Mount Carmel, where the Lord shows up in this brilliant display of majesty to win the contest against Baal. And but we also see him preparing the way when it comes to passing on his uh, prophetic work to Elisha. in 2 Kings chapter 2. And so, with that, we kind of see a little bit of that in John the Baptist's response in John chapter 1, verse 23. Um, and again, so, but yeah, I mean, so now, though, we do want to see a little bit more of an answer. And with that, we go to Jesus. So turn with me, Matthew chapter 17. We're going to go to the Transfiguration, and we're going to see a little bit more about Elijah here. So, Matthew chapter 17, verse 1. And after 6 days, Jesus took with him Peter and James and John his brother, and led them up a high mountain by themselves. And Jesus was transfigured before them, and his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. And behold, there appeared to them Moses and Elijah talking with him. And Peter said to Jesus, Lord, it is good that we are here. If you wish, I will make 3 tents here, one for you, and one for Moses, and one for Elijah. He was still speaking when, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and a voice from the cloud said, This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. When the disciples heard this, they fell on their faces and were terrified. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, Rise and have no fear. And when they lifted up their eyes, they saw no one, but Jesus only. So, when it comes to the Transfiguration itself, we actually do see that Elijah does show up. And not only him, but Moses as well. So, why? What's the point for these two showing up? First, I think it is an ode to the times of the history of Israel that they are connected to. So for Moses, he is connected to the law, whereas Elijah is connected to the prophets. And when we see Jesus, we see him as the fulfillment of the Old Testament period. And that contains not just the law, which we a lot of the times talk about, but also contains the prophets as well. And so I think the Lord sending Moses and Elijah to meet with Jesus was not just he like lined up a certain amount of people and he said, okay, Moses, Elijah, David, Daniel, Jonah, Abraham, and then he goes, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. It's not like that. Like, I think there's a purpose behind it. It's to show that Jesus is here to fulfill all of the law, but also everything that the prophets had to say. And so I think that's why he sends Elijah to to this point, to this incredible event that is appearing before Peter, James, and John. And so Jesus, yeah, gets them to calm down, and then Moses and Elijah are gone. But they're not quite done talking yet. Look at verse 9 of Matthew 17, verses 9 through 13. And as they were coming down the mountain, Jesus commanded them, Tell no one the vision until the Son of Man is raised from the dead. And the disciples asked him, Then why do the scribes say that first Elijah must come? He answered, Elijah does come, and he will restore all things. But I tell you that Elijah has already come, and they did not recognize him, but did to him whatever they pleased. So also the Son of Man will certainly suffer at their hands. Then the disciples understood that he was speaking to them of John the Baptist. So he's asking so Jesus asked the 3 disciples to tell nobody about the transfiguration until the resurrection happens. And they say, okay, yep, sounds good, but we have to know uh, why is it that Elijah must come? And why is it that he must prepare the way? Why is it? And Jesus says, look, yeah, it's true. He does have to come, but he already has. And they make the connection that he's not talking about like an unknown figure that just kind of went under the radar, nobody knew about. No, they made the connection between John the Baptist and Elijah, and John the Baptist set up the way for Jesus, but in so doing, he suffered a lot of things. Obviously, he suffered a lot of taunting and mocking from the religious leaders, but he also suffered from and eventually was killed by uh, by Herod as well for standing up for the beliefs of uh, morality of marriage as well, and because of that, he was killed for that. And and that's kind of what Jesus is referencing in verse 12 when he says they did not recognize him, but did to him whatever they pleased. So the question is this a reincarnation? No. I personally I don't think that this is a reincarnation. I think that this is John the Baptist before the beginning of time was set aside for the purpose of being a like an Elijah. So when Jesus says, "But I tell you that Elijah has already come," he's not actually what he means by that. He's saying that somebody that does what Elijah does, that did what Elijah did, um, has already come, and that's John the Baptist. So, do I think that John the Baptist is a reincarnation of Elijah? No, but I do believe that John the Baptist it was put into existence to be like Elijah. So I think that is what he's getting at there. And not only that, not only John the Baptist, but Jesus himself is compared to Elijah. We see that in Matthew 16:14 and Mark 8:28 and in Luke 9:19, where we see that Elijah is. Some say that Jesus is Elijah. Some say that he is Jeremiah or the prophets. They also think that he is the reincarnation of John the Baptist. So there's a lot of connections between Elijah and the New Testament. And I know that you're thinking to yourself, okay, that's great. Like, okay, that's really, really quite interesting to see that the life of Elijah isn't just done in the Old Testament, but he makes an impact on the New Testament, on the Gospels, especially the life of John the Baptist. But I can't call fire from heaven. I literally can't do that. And so therefore, what does the life of Elijah mean to me? Especially the New Testament part. For us, I think, to be honest, it is all about being willing and being ready to take on whatever the Lord has for us and do so again willingly, not necessarily without any questions, because Elijah definitely does question things, right? In First Kings chapter 17 and First Kings chapter 19, he's in these points where he is questioning, okay, Lord, it seems like you have this purpose for me, but I really don't know what's going on, and I really don't know what you're up to. I know I feel like that almost every week, if not every day, when it comes to. Yes, I know that for me personally, I'm called to be a pastor, but some days it look what's going on? What am I supposed to do, Lord? And so for me, it's just this idea that Elijah was willing and able to do what the Lord had for him, and we can do the same thing. Yes, it's not going to be in the same way, in the same manner. We're not going to be able to call fire from heaven, right? But we can make ourselves readily available to whatever the Lord has for us. And for me, That is what the life of Elijah is all about. So I hope you enjoyed our walkthrough of the life of Elijah, and I will see you next week. However, I'll see you for the Broadman Word tomorrow. Thanks.